It was a quiet, cold night in the small village of Saray. A couple named Feroz and Shazia had just moved into an old, abandoned house at the edge of the village. The villagers had warned them about the house. They said it was cursed, haunted by spirits that no one could see. But Feroz and Shazia didn't believe in such stories. They laughed and thought it was just village gossip. That night, they unpacked their things and tried to settle in. The wind outside howled, making the old wooden windows creak. Feroz lit a lantern, and its soft yellow light filled the room. Shazia cooked a simple meal, and they sat down to eat. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound coming from the other room. Feroz stood up, holding the lantern. "It must be a rat," he said with a smile. But when he opened the door, he saw nothing. The room was empty, but the air felt cold, as if something unseen was watching them. Shazia felt a chill run down her spine. She whispered, "Feroz, let's sleep early tonight." They blew out the lantern and went to bed. But as soon as they closed their eyes, they heard a soft whisper in the dark. It sounded like someone calling Shazia's name. She sat up quickly, her heart beating fast. Feroz turned on the lantern again, but no one was there. The whispering continued, soft and haunting. Shazia grabbed Feroz's hand. "Did you hear that?" "Someone is in this house," she whispered. Feroz nodded, but he tried to stay calm. They checked every corner of the house, but they found nothing. The whispering stopped, but the fear stayed in their hearts. That night, they couldn't sleep. At midnight, they heard footsteps in the hallway. The sound was slow, heavy, and it echoed through the old walls. Feroz slowly opened the door and looked outside. He saw a shadow moving at the end of the hallway. It was tall, with long hair covering its face. Shazia gasped and clutched Feroz's arm tightly. The shadow disappeared into the darkness. Feroz gathered all his courage and followed the shadow. He walked down the hallway, holding the lantern high. The wind outside grew stronger, and the walls seemed to shake. Suddenly, the lantern flickered and went out. Feroz was left in complete darkness. He could hear Shazia calling him from behind, but her voice sounded strange, like two voices speaking at the same time. Feroz turned around, but what he saw made his blood run cold. Shazia was standing in front of him, but her eyes were wide, her mouth twisted into a strange smile. She whispered in a deep voice, "You shouldn't have come here." Feroz stepped back, trembling. "Shazia, what's wrong with you?" he cried. But she didn't answer. She moved closer, her face darkening. The wind howled, and the house seemed to breathe like a living creature. Feroz tried to run, but the door slammed shut by itself. Suddenly, Shazia fell to the floor, unconscious. Feroz rushed to her, shaking her, calling her name. She opened her eyes slowly and whispered, "He is here. He wants me. He won't leave." Feroz realized that they were not alone. Something dark and evil had taken over the house. He could feel its cold presence all around him. He knew they had to leave before it was too late. He picked up Shazia and ran towards the door, but it wouldn't open. The shadow appeared again, standing in front of them. It had no face, just darkness, and it whispered, "She is mine now. You can't take her." Feroz shouted, "Leave her alone," and banged on the door with all his strength. Suddenly, there was a loud crash and the door burst open. Feroz carried Shazia outside into the cold night air. They ran as fast as they could, never looking back. When they reached the village, they were shaking and breathless. The villagers gathered around, asking what had happened. Feroz told them everything, and the villagers nodded sadly. One old man said, "That house has been cursed for 100 years. It belongs to the spirit." The villagers gathered around, asking what had happened. Feroz told them everything, and the villagers nodded sadly. One old man said, "That house has been cursed for 100 years. It belongs to the spirit of a man who lost his family. He takes those who enter his house." Feroz and Shazia knew they could never go back. They had escaped, but the fear of that night would stay with them forever.